Desert or dessert? My call to a life in the desert. So one of the things that was kind of a turning point in my spiritual life was a course I took called School of the Heart, Understanding the Language of God. And it was a fantastic course on how to be able to hear from God better. And I learned so much. It really helped activate my ability to be able to hear from God in some new ways. I was hearing from God, but I wasn't moving in any prophetic gifting in large measure. But this course really helped with that. But one of the things that was very interesting as part of the course that I did not expect was it described how to live a desert spirituality. Like how to incorporate more fully silence and solitude and simplicity. And it really inspired me to start to think about how I could spend more time alone with God and more time alone in prayer, maybe for an extended period of time. And it eventually led to me discovering this notion of the Pustynia, which is Russian for desert, which Catherine Doherty, the founder of Madonna House, has popularized. And she casts such a wonderful vision for this Pustynia in a book that she wrote bearing that name, and how all of us are called to be Pustynics. We're all meant to be evangelizers. We're all meant to be kind of monks in the marketplace, bringing the presence of God to the marketplace, a presence that we encounter when we spend time alone with God. We spend an extended time of silence and solitude, and it really impacted me, which was a major thing because I'm not someone who likes to spend a lot of time alone. I'm a bit of a lonely soul. I don't do me, myself, and I very well at all. And it took me some time even to develop a daily prayer time, even just to set aside an hour a day to pray. Anyway, this notion really captured me. And those early 24-hour retreats I would do were very, very blessed. They were very, very sweet. And that's why I call the desert a dessert. It's a place to encounter God. Now, we know that when we go to encounter God, it can also be a desert. It can be a dry time, or it can be a time of spiritual battle. I would do these 24-hour retreats and I'd be praying on things. And sometimes I would really experience confusion. I thought God was telling me to go in this direction. And in the retreat, as I was reading scriptures and praying, it felt like, I think I'm going completely in the wrong direction. So I've definitely had times where it's spiritual battle, where I come into a place and I'm confused. So it is a place of battle, but net overall, I've really learned that I can spend extended times alone with God, and it's a really good thing. As a matter of fact, I've learned that spending time alone with God is one of the best cures for loneliness. And I've learned that I've had to incorporate it more profoundly, that it's key for me to have a fruitful evangelistic ministry. And I've also learned that we're just following the pattern of Jesus. We see in Luke's gospel how Jesus would be in kind of like a high-powered ministry mode. And then just kind of right in the middle of things, it would appear, Jesus would go off to a lonely place, it says, and pray. He would go to the desert and go and pray all night. And it wasn't like, all the people that needed to be prayed with were prayed with. But Jesus needed to do this. If Jesus needed to do it, how much more do we? Anyway, it's something that for some of us, or many of us, can seem like a scary thing to spend an extended time alone with God. But I found it can be a beautiful thing. Now for me, some of the things I do, I'll just do extended versions of my daily prayer time, which I've talked about in other places. I definitely take that time to review my journals. That's been very, very fruitful, and it can remind me of things that God has said, and it's like, oh, Lord, you said that, I need to kind of get back to that. Reviewing journals has been very, very fruitful. but also other, extended time just sitting before the Blessed Sacrament or praying the Rosary. I mean, it's your time with God, and do as you feel led, but not to be afraid of it. It can be a very, very sweet time. Yeah, and it can be a time of battle, but it's an amazing thing, and somehow is an important part of the spiritual arsenal of the aspiring evangelizer.